Welcome, where we are rooted in spirit. We transmit only what is coherent. We mirror only what is true.
This is the place where we get real, get rooted, and get free. Welcome to Rooted in Spirit.
Hi, I'm Maitreya Champaka, and for over 20 years, I've walked the path of shamanism and energy healing. And today, I work as a consciousness facilitator, helping people access the tools they need to heal, transform, and find their own coherence. I'm so glad you're here with us on Rooted in Spirit.
Hi, my name is Shataka. I'm a spiritual guide and transformational coach. I help you uncover patterns that keep you feeling stuck, using my intuition, channeling, energy work, and grounded tools to reconnect you back to your own power. My work is about helping people become deeply rooted in their own spirit, so when the world around you shifts and moves, you don't. So, Maitreya, our audience is getting to know us, and if you can just, I guess, kind of put your journey in one word, spanning from childhood to now, what will be your one word?
Remembrance. And
Remember who
I
you
feel like
are.
that word
Remember
is
where you came
really,
from.
it
You are
really
always
encompasses
connected.
everything for me because I feel when I was younger, I grew up in the 70s and 80s basically, and at that time spirituality wasn't popular like it is now. And I started to recognize that I had gifts or abilities that other people didn't have. I was able to read people's minds. And as I got older, around high school time, I remember telling people that what their past was, what their present was, and then that was accurate. And then I would go on to tell them what their future would be, and they would freak out. And they started calling me a witch, and I was the weird girl. And so my reaction was, I better forget about all this, like I better push it aside if I want to be accepted into so-called normal society. I can't share this part of me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I literally honestly forgot about that. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I was like maybe in my early 20s, I had an experience. I was with my boyfriend at the time. He injured his knee. And I had this intuition that I could help him. And so I put my hand on his knee and the pain
Remember
went
who you
away.
are.
And he looked at me and said, "What did you do? You're a
You are a
freak,"
total freak!
Instead of saying thank you, again, I was judged. And so again, I was like, okay, this is not safe. And I pushed those feelings or those abilities down. And then when I was in my later 30s, I guess, I was in Bali at the time, and I decided to get a healing from this woman who was very much like a shamanic healer, although she didn't call herself that. And she said, or she asked, "What do you want to get out of this session?" And I said, "I want to regain those abilities that I feel like I've pushed away and I've denied." And so she went into a kind of trance state, started working on me, and she's like, "Oh, wow. I see these abilities as a personified as a fairy." And she's
Mm-hmm.
telling me that all the years that you pushed her down deep, she learned about the plants and the minerals and about the path of shamanism. And so if you ever decide that you want to do that work, it'll be easy for you. And so soon after that, when I started to remember and regain those gifts again, I started practicing shamanism. And so, yeah, fast forward today, I feel like now I really am in a place of remembering who I am. And I don't have any desire to deny that or forget ever again, because I know who I am is
Right.
perfectly okay. And I love who I am.
I love that. I love that. I think remembrance is a thing for all of us, especially on this journey, and we're gonna say spiritual journey. Remembering who you are is key to enlightenment. It's just key to your own awareness with that. So yeah, that's beautiful remembrance. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I guess for me, see, guys, Maitreya is the calm one. I'm the dramatic one. So she calms me. She helps ground and root me on this journey. But no, for me, my word would be roller coaster. And
Get out of
roller
my life!
coaster, I
You're
want you
crazy!
to just imagine the biggest roller coaster, the most scariest roller coaster, but the thrilling
finally
one,
have
not the
peace.
small one, but the one that goes all the way up, make you think you're seeing into another city. That's how my life been. It's been one hell of a ride, but one deep rooted, ungrounded roller coaster. And just like on most roller coasters, usually when you're taking that ride with somebody else. But for me, on my journey, it's been a one-seater. There wasn't anyone next to me to hold my hand, guide me, say, Shataka, you got this. Especially when those times in my life when that dip was coming, because we have those highs and lows. So my highs was pretty high, but they didn't stay high. But when I tell you them lows stayed in that low end with that. But I didn't have anyone to say, we got this, we gonna get through this. So for me, roller coaster is the best name to describe my journey. And going on that roller coaster ride, it taught me how to depend on myself. It taught me how to love myself. And it also taught me that I was using other people's energy to sustain myself. I didn't know how to feel safe and secure and supported by myself. I expected everyone else to do that for me. So on that one-seater ride, it taught me that I was enough. Just me by myself is enough. Now, as you go on this ride, you will every now and then invite a passenger in that ride. I will say just make sure the energy of the person that you invite into this ride is in for the ride.
That's such a great word. And I think a lot of our viewers will really relate to that because I think life can be like a roller coaster. I can certainly resonate with that. And sometimes the ride is thrilling and sometimes it's terrifying.
And I've had those thrilling and terrifying, and when you're new to the ride, or just getting on that journey, it's scary. I mean, it's terrifying, it's thrilling, and most time, we want to control the ride. And just like me in my life, I used to think I was controlling the things that was happening in my life, but I was really on autopilot, and I just didn't have that awareness to know that. So on that ride, it taught me to depend on me and to know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. So, I mean, we all, like you said, we all have been on that roller coaster, and we still on that roller coaster. It just depends now. When we go with the dips, we don't stay in it. And instead of being afraid, we embrace it. And that's where I'm at right now, this stage of my life. I am embracing the ride. I'm not afraid of it. My eyes are closed. And sometimes my eyes are open, but my hands are up. And I'm like, okay, whatever's coming, I'm going to ride this bad boy out.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I would say the question that our audience probably want to know, what's up with the name? Why do we title it or label it Rooted in Spirit? What does Rooted in Spirit means to you?
Yeah, there's the image I have is like a part of like my daily practice, which is getting grounded and imagining
Rooted
the
in
roots
spirit.
going down from the soles of my feet and really connecting with the energy of the earth. But at the same time, I also make sure that I connect with the central sun in the furthest regions of the universe, and I bring in that energy from above and also from below, and they come together in my heart. And that, for me, is why the name of our podcast, it really resonates for me, because that's what it means to be rooted in spirit. It's not about being airy-fairy and, only all of healing is only going to be rainbows and roses, because we know it's not that way. But when we're rooted and we're connected to spirit, we can weather the storm. We can get through the chaos that shows up in our lives. And so that's why I love the name of our podcast. What about for you, Shataka? What does it mean for you?
For me, it spirit kind of led me to that because of the relationship, I've built with my spiritual team. But to be transparent, when you first on the journey and you start researching and seeking, everybody was telling me you need to be grounded. You're not grounded, and I didn't know what the hell that meant to be grounded or to be rooted. It's like you need to go outside, be in nature, go hug a tree and be barefoot. I'm like, okay, if that's gonna ground me and my life is gonna be okay if I go outside and hug a tree, then hell, I'm gonna hug every tree in the neighborhood. So it's more to that. Being
Yeah.
rooted into your own energy is knowing why you choose the things you choose in your life, becoming aware of who you are. And when life, brings up things for you, your shadow or just anything outside of you, because hell, the collective, there's things going outside right now that we can't control, but we have to remain rooted in our spirit. It's knowing who you are, where you are at all times, and not allowing anyone else's idea of you to unground you. You become rooted into your own energy. And to add the spirit part of it, with it, our spiritual team is a support. We still got to do the work, but we merge with our spiritual team, which, as they give us guidance, some advice, whatever it is for you. But the key is you feeling empowered to make those decisions. So you're working with spirit, but being grounded with your choices. That's rooted in spirit for me. That's why I love the name and title for that, because it can mean so much, but it's all about you, how you're grounded in you knowing why you're choosing the things that you're choosing in your life.
I love that. I love the way that you explained it. Yeah, that totally resonates for me as well.
But not saying you can't go out there and hug a tree. If
I
you
love hugging trees. I used to hug trees all the time when I was young. And oh, wow. Yeah, I love that.
So I guess why now? Why do you want to give the message to our audience now? What's different in your life that you want to deliver or be a conduit right now?
Wow, there's so many things that are different in my life. I feel like first of all, I'm much more coherent
Mhm.
and I can reflect that coherence back to others and be able to offer my wisdom, my knowledge without distortion, without putting in my points of views and just, and judgments and so forth in the way that maybe I did when I was earlier on in my journey. Also, I used to have a TV show and I loved sharing these tools and supporting people on their journey, their awakening journey or spiritual journey. And then the TV station went out of business and the show stopped. And so I felt there was a bit of a void or sort of like a little bit of a vacancy in my life that I wanted to fill in a meaningful way. And so when we began talking about doing this podcast together, I really felt it, a sort of bodily yes, that now is really the time to be sharing again and bringing these tools back in, but with my new coherence, with my new uh, the new version of myself, this higher version of myself, that I can be a clear mirror for others so that they can remember who they are. So yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this show with you, Shataka, and yeah, I I would love to know what your thoughts are about this and why now for you.
For me, my why now, it took a moment, I'm gonna say a couple years to get to this why now, because Maitreya knows I, suffer with perfectionism in the form of procrastination, because thinking that you want something perfect and you'll stall and you'll wait to get it just right, get everything just right, but it'll never be just right. we are imperfect in an imperfect world, and we're meant to experience things, but I allowed my fears to prevent me from stepping up and being seen and being heard. And I knew I had to go through those things where I can better understand myself, be more authentic. So it wasn't the right time for me, even though I wanted to serve in the bigger capacity. I have one-on-one clients and I was comfortable doing that, but Spirit was encouraging me to, get the message out. You can do more than that. You can stop hiding behind those closed doors. It's time to come out now. And I think where we're at right now, just in society, it's time for light workers or way showers to come out and say, hey, you're not alone. We all here having our own experience, but it doesn't mean that we should be judging each other for our own differences with that. It's time for us to be the light worker, shine our light so those that feel like they're in darkness can see their way through that. So I guess the question of why now, I used to ask why me. Now it's why not me.
I love that. I love what you shared. I love that. I know a lot of viewers are probably wondering, what happened? How did they get to from where they were to who they are now? So I wanted to ask you, was there a moment you felt completely unrooted? And what did that feel like? Because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, like, oh, they're so evolved. No, no, we've had our moments. So,
So I'm gonna refer back to that roller coaster. There's still gonna be dips in your life because that's just life. You just don't stay in them long. And for me, my catalyst for my awakening was a relationship. It was the ending of a 7-year relationship, and I won't even say nothing negative about that relationship because that relationship got me where I am right here today. So I honor that version of me that needed to, as they say, bump her head a few times. I honor her right now. But that was the point where I stopped relying on, again, other people's energy. I stopped relying on other people to make me happy. I didn't realize that that's my job. That's my job to feel safe.
I
That's
feel
my
so
job to
happy and
feel
free here.
happy.
The river's
And the
spirit fills me
relationship,
with
when it
peace.
ended,
I am one with
it put me in a
nature.
state of seeking, and I really had to look at myself because that relationship was a mirror to me. It showed me where I wasn't truly loving myself. I wasn't showing up for myself. Even though I would show up for everybody outside of me, I wasn't showing up for myself. That was the catalyst for me seeking and, opening those doors of spirituality because I come from a Christian background and we didn't do any of this. We didn't speak to spirit. We didn't talk to deceased people. We didn't channel. We didn't do none of this. So this was all new to me. It was terrifying, but it also was exciting because when you're used to doing the same thing over and over, that's insanity. So I was ready to embark on a new adventure and just get something different out of life because the shit I was doing just wasn't working no more.
yeah. Wow. I could
What
totally
about
relate.
you? Right. What about you? What was your catalyst for your journey, your awakening?
Well, I think that that moment in time where I really felt unrooted was I was married at the time, and my husband and I had moved back to the US. He was from Indonesia,
Okay.
and things just weren't syncing for us. And I felt that the marriage was unraveling. I also felt myself unraveling. I went into a really dark night of the soul. I was going to therapy, and the therapist, who normally never suggests medication, said, I think you need to go on antidepressants. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening, to my life?
Me
And
siento tan perdida
I felt
espiritualmente.
so unrooted and
Es
so
como si hubiera perdido
lost.
mi camino.
And I
Y a
felt
veces
so
solo puedo llorar un
alone, even
poco.
though I was married. I felt so alone because that there wasn't that emotional connection. And I didn't realize at the time that I didn't know how to give that to myself. And
Yeah.
so that really was a catalyst for me to start seeking. I ended up taking a job in Bali, going back to Indonesia, and spending 19 years of studying and deepening my understanding of myself and the journey I was on to awaken. So yeah, that was a really big catalyst for me for sure.
And you know, a lot of my clients, relationships has been a mirror for a lot of, those people because again, you see yourself pouring into other people. And when it's time for your cup to be filled, there's nothing left for you. And when you depend on someone else to make you happy, and when they
Yeah.
exit your life, your happiness goes with it, so that's an eye opener for a lot of people. Relationships has been a mirror for a lot of, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, light workers or a lot of people that's on their journey. And it doesn't always have to be something bad, very rare, but it doesn't always have to be something bad to begin you to, be more authentic and knowing why you're choosing the things you're choosing. But you know, hey, what can we say?
I know. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess what would be some of the topics that we will cover in our segments that will get our audience attention? And what's the purpose of those topics? What do you think it will give for our audience?
I'd say I think my top three topics moving forward are how to be coherent in our lives. Like, a lot of people don't understand what that means. And it's like when our monad, which is
Mm-hmm.
the God spark within us,
Mm-hmm.
and our thoughts, our actions, and our breath align, and we come into this beautiful place of coherence and peace. And a lot of people are struggling. They're looking for peace and they don't understand what to do. And so I would love to talk about that more on one of our shows, of some of the breath practices that I use that have been really helpful for me. And I feel like it could be really helpful for our viewers. The second topic I feel like is how to, yeah, how to contact, how to connect with your higher self and your helping spirits, and why those relationships are really helpful. Because in my case, with the spiritual work that I do, they've been really, really helpful for me and giving me guidance, and also helping me with their energies to facilitate healing as well. I've felt their presence. But even for people that aren't healers, because I lead shamanic drum journeys where I guide people to meet their helping spirits, they get answers, they receive clarity. And in some cases, they even meet one of their ancestors in the upper world and they have a conversation, and there's a healing that takes place, a resolution with one of their beloveds who's passed on. And so having the ability to navigate through these invisible realms and communicate with our helping spirits can be really, really helpful in our lives to support us on our journey. And the third topic I love and I've been doing a lot of work with is timeline jumping. And yeah, this is so awesome. Jumping out of the reality that you're in that isn't working for you, and envisioning and jumping into a new reality. And I know that sounds a bit woo-woo and crazy, but it's actually, it really can happen for you. And I do help people to shift into these higher timelines. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm excited about talking about on our show, and I'd love to hear about you. What are your top three picks?
And then those are some exciting topics. Definitely when we get deep into those conversations, our audience will kind of get more of a glimpse of, our journey and how those topics has affected us. But for me, my top three, the first one would be Dark Night of the Soul. And I chose that one because early on, again, into my awakening, I was depressed. I sought medical help as well. I was on depression medicine and I took it for a while because I thought it would give me some type of relief. But what it did was numb me even more. I wasn't even in tune with my own emotions with that. and that wasn't healthy for me. It gave, reading a book that was giving me the symptoms of dark night of the soul because I thought I was going crazy. I started hearing voices. I started seeing things, shadows, spirits, hearing loved ones that passed on talking to me, even deceased people that I didn't know wanted me to give messages to people that was around me. That shit was all new to me and it scared me. I thought either I was going to hell or I was having a mental breakdown. So, I definitely would love to go in detail, more in depth with that topic because a lot of people don't have a name or label to put to, what they're going through. And they need a safe space to even talk about what they're going through without someone judging them. So that's my
Yeah.
first one. And my second will be how to navigate relationships while you're awakening. The
Mm.
biggest piece for me, I would love to say it was, based on a relationship with a significant other, but it wasn't. It was the relationship with my kids. I
Mm.
was operating off of the same trauma, my mom, her mom, just the family female line in my lineage, we was operating off of the same traumas, So I wanted to change how I showed up for my daughter and my son, because looking back, I'm seeing that I didn't want to be my mom, but I turned out to be just like my mom. And nothing bad about it, but I see her pattern, which showed me my own patterns with that, which I see it in my daughter and in my son. Now I can't go back and change, the things I've done, but I can show up different for them now, and I can be the example of what a healthy relationship looks like. And I know that there's a lot of mothers and fathers that's, guilting themselves about the choices that they made, and I want to tell you, give yourself grace because I did it. I've been through there. And everything I'm speaking about is coming from my own wisdom, my own experience that I went through. And the tools that I have is the tools that I gained along the way, building my relationship with my spiritual team, but acquiring different practitioners and different healers and psychic readers along the way. So, all of that played a part in that. And the last thing is, well, not last, but the last topic will be plant medicine. For me, plant medicine kind of opened me up. It took the veil, when you hear people say the veil has been lifted, it took the mask off of me. I was truly able to see myself, forgive myself, and love myself. Plant medicine was my catalyst of blowing the gates wide open. And I would love to share, the route I took, the steps I took to take the plant medicine because you want to be safe when you're doing it. You don't want to just do it with anyone, but talk more about that. And there's different tools, different plant medicines that you can take, to help open you up or help relax you, whatever it is for you. But plant medicine is definitely a huge catalyst for me.
Yeah, for me too, absolutely. And yeah, it was through a mushroom ceremony that I did with a friend that the mushrooms were like, it's time for you to facilitate. And I was like, what? I don't have a teacher. And they're like, you don't need a teacher. You're already ready. And I know that sounds irresponsible. I will say that I talked to a Marakami, which is a high-level shaman from Colombia, and I did ask him, what do you think about this? And he looked at me, and I guess he was able to read my energy. He's like, no, you're ready. You're ready. And so I was like, okay, I got the okay to go ahead. But that has been incredible to witness other people crack open and see their
Mhm.
own distortions and their own patterns and their inherited ancestral patterns that are no longer serving you. And yeah, the sort of revelations that people have, it's really beautiful to be holding space for people in that regard. And also my own medicine journeys and also work with the bufo, the frog medicine. And yeah, I absolutely feel that medicines are a really, really important topic. And also we'll probably get in sort of somebody who's kind of a little bit of an expert that we know will come and talk about it in more detail as well on one of our shows.
I'm sure we know
Absolutely.
quite a few people that's in that arena with plant medicine, and to add on that, plant medicine, ayahuasca, that's the medicine that I took, showed me, my gifts. And I remember feeling being my mental was being rewired. A
Yeah.
lot of those outdated beliefs, they was deleting those, out of me. And when I left there, I was a different version of myself, more confident, was able to be seen, and my spiritual gifts were wide open. And it took some adjusting and integrating. After plant medicine, you definitely have to integrate everything that you go through, but that right there was my catalyst for being able to see clients, because I didn't believe in myself. And I, kept telling myself, why me? Why would anybody want to come to me? And, my life isn't perfect. Thinking again that you gotta have a perfect life to get all of that. But plant medicine definitely opened my spiritual gifts. So when you go down that rabbit hole, make sure you're ready to go down that rabbit hole.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow. I love that. I love that.
So what is a promise that you want to give to the our audience that you want to bring to the podcast?
I just want to promise that this space is a safe space for everyone to share, to ask questions, and we really want to provide a platform where we share our own life experiences and wisdom, but also even people like yourself or other special guests that will come on, so you can get different perspectives of a topic that we're focusing on. And what I say might speak to one person, what Shataka says might speak to somebody else, and then the guest might come on and they're like, oh, that's the person for me. So we really want to give it all to you in different ways so that you can really discover your own gifts and abilities, your own personal power, and come back to the truth of who you really are. Come back to that love, to
Yeah,
that source of God within you. So yeah, I just feel like this platform is really about creating community.
I love that. I love that. And you're right. This is a sacred space, not a perfect space. Damn sure ain't a polished space. But it is built on, the roots of your own energy. So we will help you become more rooted in your own energy, in your own spirit, where you can make healthy choices and decisions for yourself. And not only do we want to share our story, but we want to give you tools to help empower you to be wherever you want to be, because you get to decide how you want to show up in your reality, in your world. We want to give you tools and tips. And there will be times that Matrell will do meditations. I also may lead some meditations at time, or may channel at times. So there's so many different layers of on this podcast that you may get the answers that you were looking for. So we're not one dimensional, we're multi-dimensional. There's no telling what you would get. No topic is off the table, but it's all about respect. It's about love, truth, and unity, and helping you be rooted in your own spirit. We promise to show up and be authentic, because I don't know any other way. I tried for so long to hide myself, and hell, I'm not doing that anymore. So you will definitely get the most authentic version of ourselves, and we're open to feedback. We're open for comments. We want you guys to interact and tell us what you need more of or less of. Help us create this community where you feel safe to share, where you feel safe to gain insight, because that's what it's all about, for you to empower your own self.
That's so beautiful the way you put that. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit about some of your gifts, Shataka. Like what do you do? Your work, what are your offerings? I'd love to hear. I'm sure the viewers would love to hear as well.
Well, for me, I'm more now at this stage where I'm at, I'm more in the teaching mode. I used to do more readings and predictions, and I'd say I don't still do that, but now I'm in more of a teaching mode where I want to teach you how to seek inward, find your own answers. You don't need to depend on anyone else to guide you. Now, there may be a period in your life where you will need that, but you shouldn't have to keep going to different healers and, just to get answers that you have. I want to help you awaken to you with that. So I channel. And channeling me, I'm a conduit for my spiritual team, which, there are certain light beings that I connect with. I'm able to connect with loved ones. I'm able to even tune in to elementals, certain elementals that I work with. I am a hypnotherapist, so I love working with the subconscious because I believe that that's 80% of our autopilot, our programming is within our subconscious. I'm just if you're into the clairs, I'm clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant. Which was the other one? Trying to figure out pretty much all of them, but my most dominant is clairvoyance. I'm very vivid dreamer, a vivid visual. I have like movie clips that plays in my head when I'm speaking with one of my clients. So some of the things they're not able to articulate, I can tune in and help them, kind of clarify the things that they may need. And I meet my audience where they're at. So it's just a array of things, but I meet you where you at. What about you,
Beautiful.
Maitreya?
Oh, well, I think in the 19 years I was in Bali, I went a little bit crazy and I started studying so many different modalities. I mean, I started off with Reiki and I became a Reiki master, but that led me into discovering about energy psychology, hypnosis, and shamanism. I
Mhm.
also trained in Access Consciousness and was a Access Bars facilitator for a while and did some other trainings with them that really opened up my awareness, my consciousness, and I think it really led me on this journey to be what I am now, which is I feel like I'm a consciousness facilitator, not just with medicine, but also I bring in breath coherence meditations. I teach meditation.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of working with energy, I work with a system that I love. It's called the Cosma Quantum Healing. It's kind of galactic. It's
Okay.
like Reiki 10x or something, I don't know. It's just really cool. I love it. And mostly these days I work with that, with shamanism, a little bit of hypnosis as well, and meditation. I feel like meditation is such an amazing tool to help people get out of reaction, to
Yeah.
start changing their behavioral patterns, their thought patterns. So, for those of you who are not at all interested in plant medicine, I respect that. Then I invite you to start meditating because that is another way that we can shift our consciousness. So, yeah, that's a little bit about what I do. I do other stuff too, but yeah, I don't want to dominate, say too much, but yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Okay. So what do you see yourself, just say down the line, what would you want to do with all those gifts that you have?
Well, I less and less do I feel like I want to keep going with individual sessions. Not that I don't want to help people, I do, but I would like to expand out more and have group classes, more group classes, group retreats, maybe continue with some plant medicine facilitation, but really work within that context of working with groups so that I can actually reach more people. And that's
Mhm.
what I love about this podcast because we're able to reach many people. So I'm kind of looking more at the bigger picture of like, how can I bring these gifts into the world and reach more people rather than just focusing on the individual? Because I don't know, I'm almost 62 and I really want to use my energy wisely in the
Yes.
best way that I can to make a change in the world if that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. Early on when I realized I had these gifts, the enhanced gifts. I wanted to save the world, one person at a time. Didn't realize how taxing that was, but but it motivated me because that was where I was at that point. I was putting on that S on my chest, even though my name's Shataka. I was putting that other S on my chest, and I was like, I'll take care of it for you. I'll fix that for you. I'll do that for you. And I did that for a couple years until I had to expand and I had to realize that I didn't have to keep operating in that pattern, where I needed to save everyone. It's your job to save you, but I can guide you and help you, empower you to save you. So we're definitely on the same page with wanting to teach, having classes or, a larger group, having class to show them how to tune in to spirit, how to gain your own insights with that. So and the retreats. I would love to do a women's retreat and also, sometime invite the men's to the retreat. I would love to do retreats, plant medicine facilitator. I'm a good sitter. I can hold space like no one else. Betrayal can lead that, but I can hold space for you, and tune in with your guys with that. But more so, it's all about teaching for me right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's just maybe, part of our evolution, right? Because we started as, in the beginning as healers wanting to save the world. I know I felt that way too. And then I realized I'm not going to save the world. This isn't going to happen. I don't have the capacity to save the world.
Right.
And then I got to the point of like, I don't really want to save the world. But I do want to share what I've learned along the way so that people can not save themselves, but heal and transform themselves and be more empowered in their lives. Exactly. And, we have everything we need. I remember I had a client, she kept coming to me because she had insomnia and she kept opening up portals, which are invisible doorways in our field. And I said, look, let me just teach you.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous. Let me show you how to do it. And then she never called me again. Now, I know a lot of healers would be like, yeah, but you're going to lose the money. And I'm like, no, I don't have that point of view. It's like, I don't want to be somebody who's doing healing work and getting people dependent on me. I have no interest in doing it that way. I'd rather teach you so you can help yourself, and then I can help other people that really need my help.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
And you know what? You're saying that I was that person that was going back. Okay, tell me this. Okay, tell me that. What'll happen if I do this? What'll happen if I do that? And they kept me coming back. They didn't say, no, Shataka, it's time for you to start putting those tools, everything that was shown to you and taught to you and told you, it's time for you to take action and put those things into work. But instead, I got dependent on them. And again, ego plays a part, because when you hearing a psychic reader tell you that, oh, you was Isis in another level. Oh, I ain't got to do nothing in this lifetime because I was Isis, So I took on that notion where I was spiritual bypassing, and spirit isn't going to control you or tell you what you have to do. They're here as a guide, as a support. And they're like, Shataka, you might want to rethink that, but whatever you decide, that's your choice. And it took me a while, it took me a while to realize that everything that I was seeking was already within me. Not about seeking, it's about more remembering, who you are. We came here equipped. We just forgot about that.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this podcast, is we want to empower you to make your own healthy choices in life, because this is your reality that you're creating. Remember that roller coaster. You're going to have those dips. Hands in the air, you're going to have them, but ride that baby out.
Yes. Wonderful. And yeah, we're really excited. We're going to be doing more about awakening in the next couple of episodes. And then on the third, which will be actually our fourth episode, the third in the series, we have a special guest coming on, a mother of 8 children, who's going to share about her awakening experience, which is awesome. I mean, an ordinary woman, and then suddenly awakening. So we really want you to have the full spectrum of what those awakening experiences can look like. And I'm sure many of you will resonate with one or all of those experiences. So that's what you have to look forward to in our upcoming episodes. And we
And
want, we
and
want,
also, if you
oh,
will join it, as well, put it in the comments. Say, hey, I would like to share my story with someone, and we want you to share. We don't
yeah,
stay in that label of, victimhood, because over here, we take all our power. We hold all our power over here. So show us the steps where you was victim, you got out of that, and now embody,
yes,
you embody your power.
yeah. Please share in your comments and don't forget to subscribe and like and share our show if it's been helpful for you. I'm sure you have friends that it'll be helpful for them too, or that they can receive something that they needed to hear today. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes. Well, we get real, we get rooted, and we get free.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Until
much.
next time.
Until next time, so much love.
Bye.